What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. Today we're going to talk about a controversial topic, and that is pricing your reptiles. Specifically, we're going to talk about pricing rare reptiles where there are no examples. I want to tell you guys how I personally price them, because lately I actually priced a Peruvian boa on Morph Market, and I've had a lot of people. Some people have said, wow, beautiful animal, fantastic price. I've had another group of people saying, you're ripping people off. So I said, let's do a video on how I price my snakes. And I've also had questions from other breeders where they've had rare animals and they said, hey, Jason, how do you price your snakes when I have nothing to compare to? So let's dive into that video. Pricing snakes when there is something to compare to is basically supply and demand. You go on websites, you figure out what's out there. Are there 5,000 of them? Are there 100 of them? You look at the prices of those and you see where your snakes compare to that. So for instance, I have a hypomelanistic boa. It might be the most stunning example of a hypomelanistic boa. There's a lot of them out there, but I know mine is special. I'm gonna price it on the higher end of that range. Maybe it's a poorer quality, it's a beautiful snake, but in terms of what's out there and what people are producing some beautiful stuff. And mine may not be kind of at that level, so I'm going to price mine a little bit cheaper. That is the bar for common animals. But what about something like this snake, where it's a one of a kind, or there may be one of 50 of them that are out there, and this is the only one available? Same thing, I had a friend, he said, I have some T-positive Argentine boas. How do I price these? There's nothing to compare to. So this is the thought process that I go through in my head. First, I do the same thing. I scour Facebook, I scour Instagram, Morph Market, King Snake, all the website platforms, people's personal pages, whether they have them for sale or not, and I want to see how pretty is mine compared to what they have. If this snake was gone tomorrow, how could I replace it? Could I replace it? Is it a replaceable snake? That's step one if I even want to know if I want to get rid of it. I breed hundreds of snakes every year. I want to keep all of them. I literally want to keep all of them. So it's a passion before it's a business, and that's probably one of my biggest challenges is into how I price snakes is I am very passionate about the animals I produce. I don't want to sell any of them, so I want to make sure they go to good homes, but I also want to make sure that I price them maybe with my heart more than what I see online. So getting back to this snake here, Baculpa Peruvian, this is a female. I actually have a male that's up there for sale. I look and I say, really, what would it take for me to sell this? What would it take for me to replace this snake? And if I can't answer that question, now I start thinking, how much is this snake worth to me in terms of now from a business perspective? If I wanted to replace this, how much would I need to get? If somebody came to me with cash in their hand and said, I'll give you $2,000 for that. I'll give you $3,000 for that. I'll give you $10,000 for that. What is that number in my head that I would say I have 1 second to make a decision, or I have 10 seconds to make a decision, and that cash is gone? What is that number in my head that I would move forward with? That's kind of the number that clicks. As I say, all right, if I had 10 seconds to decide and somebody put cash in front of me, that's what I would take. But before I get to that point, I need to think, if somebody put this cash in front of me and they then turned it around and posted it up for sale for more money, would I be okay with that? And I hate to talk about money like this because it's not a money thing. It is money. It is a business aspect of this. These are animals, but there's a financial value to me as well, where this is also part of a business and I can't get attached to everything I have. For instance, this girl, I don't really care how much you offer me. I'm not gonna sell her. She's mine, she's special to me. I have snakes that I have a hard time and I just need to trim down because as a business aspect, I need to make room for more stuff. So I have a 2018 male, I have 2 females, and I have 5 males. I don't need 5 males. Now I only have 1 male for sale because I can't bring it in me to sell more than 1 male. But kind of getting back into it is, if somebody bought this snake, let's say 10 grand, I'm just gonna use big numbers. I know what, I'll use real numbers. $4,000. That's what I have this animal priced at. I have it priced at $4,000 on Morph Market right now. Not this one, the male. I should have actually pulled him out. But $4,000. If somebody paid this and then they turned around and resold it. Let's say tomorrow I saw it priced on Morph Market for $5,000. Would I be bothered by that? That to me is the key. One is really what's the number in my head that I would take for it, but two, if somebody turned around and resold it, would I be bothered? Would I feel like, hey, I just got ripped off. I sold that snake for too cheap, and they knew it. So that's kind of what I have in my head. And there's always offers. You know, I might have it for $4,000. Somebody might say, I get this snake and I'll trade you this one for that one. Or they might say, hey, $3,500. Now I have to think about it. I don't know. Then I might say no. I might say yes. I don't know. But in my head, that's the price that if somebody put it to me and said, here it is, take it or leave it, you have 10 seconds, that's the one I would walk away with. Now, getting back to the reselling thing is if I saw somebody reselling the same snake. This is in the case of those T-positive Argentines. I thought he actually had them priced on the low to fair end of where they should be. I think he was selling them for $2,500, but there's none out there. There's none. You cannot find them. And I'm saying, well, if I said, hey, give me this snake for $1,500, and you did it. He said, oh yeah, you're my friend, of course I'd do it. But I said, now what about if I turned it around and I put it on my website for $3,000? Would you be mad at me? And he says, well, yeah, kinda, I gave you a deal. And I said, yeah, but I understand that aspect, but now let's pretend it's not me. Let's say you took $1,500 for this snake, and you wanted $25,000, and I went and priced it for $3,000 the next week. Now let's say it wasn't because I was trying to flip it. Let's say just I came into some kind of financial hardship, and I needed to sell it, and I priced it for what I thought it was worth, which is more than I paid for it. And he said, yeah, I'd be bothered by that. So I said, all right, you're pricing your animals too low then. If for some reason, if you sold it to me, let's say I even paid your asking price, $2,500, I bought it and I posted it up for $3,500, you'd feel like you got taken advantage of. You'd also feel like, what the heck, you should have offered it back to me. So it just kind of ruins things. So you have to price your animals from both the fair market value, how you feel about your gut. These are animals that we grow connection with. And I know we're talking about adults, but even the babies. I see these babies come out and I'm saying, like, I need all of them. I need all of them. My wife will kill me. But like this year, I'm holding back a lot of babies this year. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of crazy. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm going to have to buy new racks for it. I'm going to create more work for myself. But I just saw them and I can't help it. So kind of getting back to the babies, eventually what I'm going to have to do, because I really can't keep all of the babies, but I am going to buy a new rack. That is a true story, and my wife is going to find out when she watches this video if she hits the 7 or 8 minute mark that this video is at. So I then go through and I will grade my babies of the same way. What is it going to take for me to sell this snake? How much of a connection have I already made with this snake? And you know what? If somebody doesn't buy it, I don't care. That's the beauty of what we do is as long as you don't need to sell this, I don't care if somebody buys it. I'm totally cool keeping these snakes. Everybody yells at me, I shake the snakes around. I'll stop shaking the snakes around, but this girl's cool. So I don't care if nobody buys this Peruvian male. This is more of a, yes, it would be nice if I could make some room. I'll keep him here forever. I'll raise him up. I'll buy more cages. I'll work harder. I will keep him here. Don't buy it from me. I'm not ripping people off. If you don't feel comfortable buying the snake, if you don't think it's worth what it's worth, don't buy it. I'm begging you, don't buy it. I want somebody who has that same passion and desire as I do for that specific animal. Now, does that mean that they can't find something somewhere else cheaper? No, they may be able to find it tomorrow. Maybe it's 10 years until they find the same snake. But to me, that is what it's worth. So that's how I price snakes. I hope this video helped you guys somewhat, at least kind of get into my head of how I do things, and maybe you can take something from this. Maybe you don't take all of the way I do this, but hopefully you take some of it, and it changes the way you think of things. One thing I will want to close it is be respectful of the market. I've seen people in the past who said, I want to help everybody out. I want to take these snakes and I want to sell them for cheap because I want people to have cool stuff cheap. That's cool. But you need to remember that you are also breeding, and at some point, you're spending a lot of money on these animals. You need to get your return back. Unless you're just breeding kind of a couple $100 animals that have baselined and leveled, you are destroying your own market. If I take a snake and somebody's selling it for $1,000 and I sell it for $500, nobody is ever going to pay $1,000 for that. at least as long as that is a consistent trend and it's something that there are multiples out there. If I am continuously posting stuff $500, that person for the $1,000, everybody's either going to, if the supply and demand is right, everybody is either going to buy my animals and forget about theirs, and then they'll lower their price, and next year the price is now lower, or they are going to, if the supply is high enough, they're going to buy mine almost immediately, then they're going to buy theirs. So that's kind of something to be mindful of, is don't depreciate the market you're in. Don't price yourself too high where it's not moving, but also don't price yourself too low. General rule of thumb is if something sells overnight, it was either there was somebody waiting for that animal or it was priced too low. If something is sitting there for 6 months, it's either somebody isn't looking for that specific animal or it's priced too high. That's when you go to your personal connection now. Do you want to sell this snake? How bad do you need to sell this snake? And then you don't want to crash your price. You want to just kind of try a little bit lower. This is the next price point that I would take. Never crash your price. That will crash the market. And for anybody who's breeding and doesn't understand that and respect that, you are your own worst enemy, and one day you will. So I will leave you with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's not about the money, it's about the animals, but there is a financial component here. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it all, and we'll talk soon. Till next week.